And this is Ira Meyer back to you from the University of Pretoria Mamelodi campus, and I am going to help your personality, the A personality, how to study better according to your personality. So I'm first going to go through what your strengths are again. Remember, they are your strengths, and if you study like that first, it makes you better, and that's where you get your marks from. But it doesn't help that you just study according to your personality first and stop there, because that makes your marks around about 50 to 65%. We want more than that. So we're going to get to the place also that you need to understand what you memorize. Do you understand when to use it, how to use it, where to use it, so that when you get to a test that they don't catch you out when they ask a discuss kind of question, those ones that you normally hate. So I'm going to teach you also how to do a theory, how to study theory easier for your personality. Stay tuned, we're going on to the next step. So, personality A, you first want to know how to write what you studied. You like to look at your information step by step. You like a formula? It reads well. You read it, the symbols and the numbers, and you do it step by step. As you're going slowly through it, it makes sense to you. So when you are busy with a math formula and you do not understand the rules and the laws and the theorems, take a piece of paper. When you are making your notes for maths, you write your formula on the left side of the page. You'll see there's still space on the right side of the page. Now put a straight line from the top of the page through the middle right down to the bottom, and on the right side of your formula you write your rules, laws, definitions, theorems that makes sense because of the formula. So those that are connected to the formula or the graph that you have on the left side of the page, so that you can actually make sense out of the theorems because it's connected to the formula that makes sense to you. A graph you read and you can see the detail. The Y and X-axis makes sense to you and you won't leave them out. Your format is important to you. The format in which you write something, you want it to be structured. So you prefer your information structured. If you do accounting science, for instance, then first look at how it is written before you look at the theory. You want to see how it's written before you look at the theory. Then details. You are very good at detail. You normally do not make detail mistakes, unless you sleep too little before you go and write. So be careful of that one. We already spoke about it. Details, and you remember detail words, keywords. Look at those keywords before you start a chapter. Look at those keywords in your summary of your chapter. Those are important for you, makes it easier for you to tackle your chapter. Then you prefer facts and memorizing facts and connecting them. They make more sense to you when you connect facts together. And then you can actually get to the point of explaining something, or you see it as a circle of information. You prefer that above reading theory. So that is your way of taking in information. So you do look at theory, you just do it bullet form, looking at facts and important words. Your personality, we said, writes everything that you are studying. So when you are writing, you do your own notes because you are scared that other people leave out important detail. So it's important for you to do your notes. Other people might say that you shouldn't write everything over, but for you, if you do not write, you cannot think. You do it in a bullet form, or if it's a formula, you do it step by step so that you can follow the reasoning. Now let's look at how you write theory. When you look at a theory chapter, let's have a look at this screen. When you look at a theory chapter, always first look at the chapter name. Write it down on a piece of paper at the top. Now look at how many headings there are in the chapter. Write down the headings: heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, heading 4. Let's say there's 4 headings in the chapter. Once you've done that, stop for a while. Now, look at this. This chapter is about this, heading 1, this chapter, heading 2, this, heading 3, and this, heading 4. This makes you more inquisitive about the rest of the information. Before you start, first know that this page is only for structure. So do not write tables or anything underneath this. You write your chapter name, your headings, and underneath your headings you write your subheadings. Your subheadings will be sometimes more, sometimes less. Write them underneath the headings. Once you've done that, now look at your chapter. If you do not understand a subheading, look at that bold word underneath it. The bold word is normally the sentence around it, is normally a definition of what the subheading is about. This will make your whole chapter much less overwhelming. Now you can start doing your notes the way you do it normally. As you are writing your notes and you write your subheading with the information bullet form underneath it, your mind will go back to the heading and back to the chapter name so that you see how that connects. So that when they ask you a question like discuss this, you can give information and remember how the structure of the chapter looked and where you got the information from. This is how you start your theory chapters. If you want to prepare before class, this is also a very good way of doing it. For my students, look at your study guide and do the chapter like this. If you have done it like this, theory becomes much less overwhelming for you. It becomes facts, the way you like to take in information. The next one under personality A is memory. You prefer to memorize, and that is where you get your marks from. You have different ways of doing memory. I'm not going to go into that. There's way enough information on that on YouTube on how to improve your memory. When you look at your work, you see your example and you go, yay, this makes sense, because an example is structured information that you can read step by step, or it is very practical. You are a very practical learner, and that is why you won't miss examples. You also prefer your work hard copy. That is why your notes is important and why you make some words darker so that they stand out, so that you remember them. And sometimes you write the core word on the left side of the page so that you remember it. So hard copy for you is much better than an electronic book. An electronic book, if you have to do that, remember to go back to how you do theory. That is how you need to look at those books. This is your personality and how I want you to look at your work. When you look at theory, you normally study it according to step-by-step detail that you memorize. You have your subheading with the sentences underneath. When you study your theory like that, you are memorizing it. After you've done that, think in terms of explaining this to a child. When you've memorized something, say, see, we have this formula. When they ask us this, and then you refer to the theory, which is information you memorized. When they ask us this, I use, and then you go to your formula again, this formula. Remembering and practicing your formulas for your personality is very important. But understanding how and where and when to use them are extremely important. Normally your personality, when the work is given formula first in maths, you get it. But you remember or you memorize your theorems, laws, rules, definitions, but they don't always make sense to you. So remember, golden rule, how I told you to do your notes for mathematics. Connect them with an arrow that you can see. That is why there's a minus before the bracket. So you have your formula on the left side, your rules and laws and definitions on the right side of the page, an arrow to the minus so that you can see this is why. So on the right side of your maths notes, it answers the why to the formula, so that when a question is given in another way, you know which formula to use. This is you, personality A, and don't forget to practice.